Most people think public policy means government laws, political speeches, or big announcements on TV. That's too narrow. Public policy is the set of decisions, rules, programs, and priorities that a government uses to solve public problems. In simple words, it is what government chooses to do, why it chooses to do it, and how that decision affects people's lives. When a government decides to build schools, increase taxes, reduce crime, control pollution, provide health care, support farmers, or create jobs, that is public policy. Not just the speech, not just the promise. The full decision behind how public problems are understood, funded, implemented, and evaluated. And sometimes we apply the same concept in daily life without realizing it. Imagine a family decides that children can only use phones after finishing homework. That is a policy. Imagine a restaurant decides every customer complaint must be handled within 10 minutes. That is a policy. Imagine a business decides staff must follow hygiene rules before preparing food. That is also a policy. The concept is simple. A policy is a rule or decision created to guide action. But when government creates policies, the scale becomes much bigger because the impact is not on one family or one business. It is on thousands, millions, or sometimes the whole country. Public policy starts when society recognizes a problem. It could be unemployment, inflation, poverty, crime, traffic, pollution, weak education, poor healthcare, corruption, or public safety. But here's the important part. Not every problem automatically becomes public policy. A problem becomes a policy issue only when government, media, citizens, experts, courts, or political leaders decide that it deserves attention. This is where power enters the picture. Who gets heard? Who gets ignored? Which problem becomes urgent? Which problem is delayed? Public policy is never completely neutral because every decision creates winners and losers. If government spends more on roads, maybe less money goes to hospitals. If it increases taxes, some people pay more. If it regulates businesses, companies may complain. So policy is not only about good intentions. It is about choices, trade-offs, and consequences. Think about a city with a serious traffic problem. People are stuck for hours, fuel is wasted, pollution increases, and businesses lose time. The government has different policy options. It can build more roads, improve public transport, increase parking fines, create bike lanes, change office timings, or regulate ride-hailing services. Each option has a different cost, benefit, and public reaction. That is public policy in action. It is not just saying solve traffic. It is choosing a specific path after studying the problem, available resources, public behavior, political pressure, and expected results. But here's the catch. A policy document can look perfect and still fail. Why? Because after the decision, implementation begins. Departments must coordinate. Money must be used properly. Data must be accurate. Staff must be trained. Citizens must understand the system. If corruption enters, if departments don't cooperate, if the budget is weak, or if the design is unrealistic, the policy fails. This is why public policy and public administration are connected. Policy creates the decision. Administration turns that decision into reality. So public policy is not just a subject for politicians or civil servants. It affects everyone. The taxes you pay, the schools your children attend, the hospitals you use, the roads you travel on, the jobs available in the economy, the police response in your area, and even the air you breathe are shaped by public policy. And here is the brutal truth. Bad public policy can damage a country for decades. A poor education policy creates weak human capital. A weak health policy creates preventable deaths. A corrupt procurement policy wastes public money. A careless energy policy creates energy shortages. That is why understanding public policy matters. Because once you understand it, you stop judging government only by speeches and start judging it by decisions, trade-offs, implementation, and results. At the Learning Studio, we will understand public policy as the decision-making engine of the state, where public problems, political power, money, institutions, and citizens all collide.